things. So hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. It is August 12th, and we are here with Cersei Florano, my co-host, which is awesome. Super excited. Today we are going to be talking about a couple different things. We are going to be focusing on kind of the operations of business. We are going to be talking about marketing and sales. To start off, we're actually going to have a little bit of a show and tell, which is really exciting. So we're going to be figuring out kind of what you guys have been building based on the class we did last week, where we focused on how to build dynamic lead magnets. And then Cersei is going to be demoing a couple different things related to building websites and things like that. How you can sell or build and sell a website in less than 30 minutes, which is super exciting. That is something that I do pretty much every weekend. So one of the things that I use to make supplemental income and really get kind of the that added revenue that I'm looking for every month is I just flex on the weekends in 30, 45 minutes, build a really simple website for different businesses. And yeah, Brian, I did trim my beard. I did. I needed to, man. I was like a grizzly bear. Nobody told me that I looked homeless. Uh, but yeah, so got that all trimmed up and good. Thanks for
Good
noticing. Good evening,
evening.
Lionel. Or I think it's Lionel. Lionel.
Lino.
And
Yeah.
Lionel, yeah, perfect. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon for those of you in different parts of the world. Again, my name is Mario, and I'm here with my co-host Cersei, and we are with Legendary Academy. We are focusing on operations, marketing, and sales, going through kind of the track of how you take what you learned last weekend, how you're going to take what you learned today with building websites, how to cold call, how to do a variety of different tactics and set up your automations so that it really simplifies the operations, marketing, and sales of your business. Welcome, Kelly. I want everyone to drop really quick in the chat where you are from, just city and state, or city and country would be super great. If you don't mind, just drop where you're from in the chat, and let's see what we've got representation with.
South Africa.
South Africa, heck
Yes.
yeah. Colorado, all
Denver.
right. USA, Pakistan, USA, Philippines,
Philippines.
North Carolina, Atlanta. Man, we've got representation already from 4 different countries, 5 different countries. Greensboro, North Carolina. That's actually where I used to live, which is super exciting. Texan, yep, Texas, Texas, Texas. I wonder how many countries we can get overall here in the future. I want to
Yeah.
shoot for as many as possible. It's really exciting seeing all these people around the world making some differences in their lives and being able to really upskill and up level. One of the things that I know everyone here is not necessarily struggling with, but really looking to do is make that additional income. So one of the things that Cersei and I love doing and love we specialize in is that weekend money. It's things that you can do that are easy on the weekends, 45 minutes to an hour. Really not the kind of the typical work schedule. I work usually about 4 days now, about 4 days a week, focusing on a specific project, and then the remainder of my time, I take Fridays off completely. Oh, we got Japan in here. Welcome, Sergio.
Mm.
Got Japan in here. But yeah, so I take my weekends to focus on learning and building kind of supplemental income and supplemental revenue by doing websites, code audits, things like that. And then for 4 days, I focus on my main project with Osprey. So it's kind of exciting to have that additional 2 to 4 thousand a month. Actually, my record for weekend money is $22,000. That was a what I call like a shotgun build. I basically went out and just grabbed as many leads as possible, as many websites as I could think of, and found a bunch of business owners that were interested in getting some websites set up and being able to have the advantage of good SEO, good AEO, and all the other things that I typically build into my websites. And so I sold each website for just shy of $2,000, usually about 1,900. And then I have some add-ons, and then the recurring revenue from that, I was actually able to get them in to High Level, the CRM, for $497 a month, which was super, super exciting because normally I sell it for $197, but I was able to charge a little bit more because I added some additional AI features and things like that. So, think about it that way. That's like just shy of $5,000 a month in recurring revenue and $22,000 made in one weekend. That is totally doable for all of you. Now it is work. It took me all week long to cultivate all of those leads and to get people. Country number 6, Toronto, Canada. But what I was saying is it took about all week to get enough networking, enough referrals, enough connections to be able to stack those into one weekend. It was really a bet with myself and someone on Facebook who said it wasn't possible to make $20,000 in a weekend. But it is. Absolutely. I woke up Saturday morning about 6 o'clock in the morning and then pretty much just ground out websites on Lovable, and then ultimately put them in Cursor for optimization. It basically did it until like Sunday at midnight, and then delivered products throughout the week, the following week. So super exciting. All right, what I want to do actually is, we were talking about a little bit earlier, is get started with a little bit of show and tell. So I know that a couple of you have already built some really cool products, some really cool dynamic lead magnets from our course last week. So go ahead and, if you wouldn't mind, drop in a link to what you built throughout last week. I want to see anyone who's got any projects that they're working on that are exciting, especially dynamic lead magnets from last week. I know a couple of you have built and shown me some of those products. So go ahead and drop those in the chat. I will click on the link and share my screen, and then we will see who's got some cool things to show. Let's first look.
Cool.
First victim is Kim
Fun.
Herring. Yeah, so let me go ahead and drop this. Actually, I do not have access to that, Kim, so you're going to need to share the share link from that. So publish it and share it. You don't need to add a domain, but I will go ahead and pull up the from Quenny, the affordable residences, and let's share that screen real quick. So go in here and share this. There we go. So this is the affordable residences website, it looks like, where you have some different listings. Oh, wow. This is super nice. You even have like property filters. How long did this take you, Quenny, to build? Just out of curiosity, what was your timeline for building this? Because this is really nice. One thing that I would definitely do that I think would be a little bit of an up level is 30 minutes. And what are you going to charge for building this? Just out of curiosity. Would love to know what you're planning on charging. I know there's a little bit of a delay in audio, so I'll just wait a second for the chat to show up. But what do you think you're going to 5K? That's perfect. So you made 5K in 30 minutes. That is impressive. And this looks really good. But one thing I would definitely recommend is making these listings clickable. So having a little bit more information in the back, like a second detail page, because what you have is people who are very interested in the property, but really want to kind of get down into the details of maybe the floor plan, things like that. So I would absolutely recommend doing a little bit more detail on the pages. Let's look at the featured page. Again, you have the schedule of viewing, which looks great. One of the cool things that you could actually do is use High Level to like do a calendar and actually have people schedule live. You would just embed that calendar into this website. So very easy, just a little iframe and a little script, JavaScript that you embed. But good job. This is amazing. And $5,000 in 30 minutes on the weekend. Let's look at Kim Herring's project. Wow. This immediately screams brand and a very good job of portraying kind of the feel of the Arts and Crafts Festival. I'm assuming. Okay, yep. Before I even read it, said the weekend before Thanksgiving. I was saying it's probably right around Thanksgiving and fall time frame. But yeah, you did an amazing job on this, Kim. I really love what you've built. Let me go ahead and put in my information and see where I want a booth with electricity and I want to reserve my booth. Cool. I'm in. So one thing that I would do, Kim, is probably before. Okay, you do have the step one and step two. Perfect. I might do a little bit of like a call out on the left hand side that says like start here or something like that. That kind of denotes that they need to pick the booth. It is obvious now that I'm actually reading it, but kind of initially, I didn't realize that these tiles were clickable. So just a thought there. Maybe something that says click below or something that indicates what they need to do. But overall, this is great. Absolutely awesome. Let me look at Mark Stevens submitted his project. So let's take a look at that. Oh, it is not available. Let's look at this project, which is the Rent Finder. This is another real estate property. Let's take the run the free numbers. Um, One thing I would probably do in this one for the Rent Finder is focus more on why the different terms over here, maybe on the left hand side, or maybe on the right hand side, kind of do like tooltip hovers on
Mm.
the different aspects, because I don't really understand like where I should find my down payment percentage or my interest rate or my property tax, my maintenance fees, whether or not I have an HOA. So maybe do kind of a walkthrough as opposed to just a flat form. That's one of the things that I think really makes the difference between like a good lead magnet and a great lead magnet, is being able to have the walkthrough that really engages the customer. One thing that everyone says is you don't want many clicks on a lead magnet, but with
Yeah.
dynamic lead magnets, it's actually the opposite, in my opinion, my personal opinion. Here's why: because what you want to do is engage the customer. And when you have just a flat form like this, the customer really feels like they're literally just clicking around and filling out numbers or using the default. And it doesn't really give them a sense of confidence in what they're filling out. So, what I would do instead is actually do like a step by step what your home price is and then what your down payment would be. Um, no, you're doing fine. No need to apologize. Just saying that, I would do something like have the, different groupings like the interest rate and the loan term. Maybe have that as a grouping: property tax, maintenance, insurance, and HOA dues, kind of um, what different things are common and why, with the
Yeah.
ability to select yes or no. And then the renting and horizon, like do recommended values. So do like uh here's what if I'm understanding this correctly, this would be something like they are looking at building for like whether or not they're going to rent. So this is really cool though. I really like this.
Yeah.
And then you have some basic stuff about homes and things like that. Again, make this a little bit more clickable. Let's take one more project.
I like the
We got
animation flow. It's very sleek.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree. Let's look at the Leonel's Ultimate Kitchen Planner Bundle. Get the bundle. So get the complete bundle. Looks like it's $2.99, which is not bad in Filipino currency. How do they actually get the bundle? Because this is looping, so just a heads up, that is something that I would fix. And what does maybe a sample would be great, kind of detailing what they're going to see, because all they're seeing right now is what they're going to get with each one, but maybe have these broken up into separate sections. That then inside of the separate sections, they're able to click on and expand that a little bit to give some more context and information. I think would be really cool. Maybe one more. Yeah, Kelly, actually, if you want to share your painter estimate link, I would love, 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 love. I am not sick. I have allergies. Thank you for noticing, though. The allergies are really bad right now because of the wildfires in Canada and all of the crazy weather. But yeah, my allergies right now are killing me. It is not fun. I basically stay inside because of it. So let's look at the let's look at Kelly Bass's if I remember the password. Let's look at the estimator. Perfect. So we have inside of her estimator, we can pick an estimator, we can put in a discount, put in a warranty. The cool thing about this estimator is this is designed for people in the field. So people who are maybe have an iPad or their laptop and they want to build an estimate out for the customer right then and there. I think it's really cool that they are able to build out that estimate on the fly. I also think it's pretty cool that they can upload photos and you can see them right here. So let's look at what this looks like in. So let's
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, that is cool that you actually did the signature piece. I'm gonna steal that part because that is really, really neat. So clear signature. Maybe it needs one more piece, but that's really cool. I love this. So with that, we are going to transition into a little bit more on the operation side, talking about kind of what Cersei specializes in automating that lead generation and that part. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Cool. So I actually have a presentation of you guys just going through quickly what operations is and connecting the bridge from how can you connect the lead gen to actual businesses and then telling them. So I actually don't have a second monitor. If there are any questions, Mario, please tell me.
Yep, I got you.
We're going through the presentation itself and window. Okay.
We got to fix that. You need your second monitor.
Yeah, no, I'm about to buy a new MacBook and get all my setup here. There you go. So, can you guys see?
It's adding right now.
Okay.
Do.
Wait, are you able to close my screen presentation?
I'm trying to figure out how to actually get your.
Ooh.
Whoop.
Ooh. Can you guys see?
No, it's all I see is the. Go ahead and move over to your presentation. I think you're still in the restream window.
Oh, you guys can see?
No, well, we can. Yeah, all we can see is the restream window itself. One moment, guys. Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Replace.
Yeah, there we go. You need to swap it with a different screen.
There you go.
Yep,
you guys
now
see?
we can see it. Yep.
Okay.
Good.
So first is going to be like, how does operation work? So the basics of operations and automations, and what can you really sell to a local business? So first half is we're gonna talk about what business actually runs on and what does and doesn't deserve to be automated. And then the second half, what local business lose money on every week, and 5 fixes you can learn to sell them. So operations, it sounds very kind of like it needs a degree and everything, but it actually just how does the process run and how does it connect when it comes to businesses, whether it be every business has its own processes, and operation is what that's called. So what gets done, who does it, and in what order. So every business has these 5 things. Every business needs attention. Every business needs capture. Those captures of the people who are who capture the attentions already. We convert them, we deliver, and we retain. So attention means marketing, capture means like, let's say, lead gen, some inbound inquiries, like getting all of these leads, and then we convert them into paying customers. Once they give us the money, that's where they are our customers. And then we deliver the value that any business is, because like businesses gives out value. They whether it be a product or a service, they deliver, and then it's up to the business to retain that so-called value from the customer. So this is a very, I'll be sending these resources to the community. So what most people don't need are customers, and I can tell you this because I've had multiple like location businesses who would come to me and think they need some sort of lead gen to get more revenue, but there's actually more leakage when it comes to capturing their leads. They don't even have a proper way of capturing leads and storing those leads so that they can do marketing with the people who are interested already. So majority of it is just they're coming to me and be like, oh, can you have the AI cold outreach, all these things. And when I look at their businesses, they don't even have a proper lead gen setup or a proper CRM setup. So 50 inquiries a week and 30 answers is not a traffic problem. They need to stop losing the ones they're already trying to reach them. So pour more water into a bucket with a hole and it will just leak. We just lose more faster. So we're trying to patch out that so-called hole in their business operations. So what work is made out of, any automations, any operations, this is the key foundation. So there's a trigger. So a trigger is the input. For a lead gen, what is the trigger? A customer filling out the form. I mean, what is a trigger? Like, those pop up, like, or an inquiry inbounds, like saying, hey, fill out this form. And then what's the task? Task is someone who gets that, and then someone who judges if this is worth doing business or not. So that's like an example of kind of an analogy of what an automation is. It's kind of like trigger and then handoff, and if there's any decisions that needs to be doing. So how that handoff dies is when every time something passes from one person to another, or very important thing, one app to another, it can be dropped. So nobody cares and everyone is busy. I worked with this business that has their own CRM and has the leads, but they're doing it manually inputting. And when I did an audit, they didn't get to input the lead's name, their phone number, their email to their CRM. So this is a very, very common handoff die. So customer tells reception, and reception tells whoever does a job that person needs detail. Nobody wrote down, and someone fell through the cracks again. No one followed up. No one get to reach back to this customer again, and that's money out of the business. So when this happens, do that. So that's the entire field. Everything you heard, a workflow, an integration, or an automation, is that sentence. When this happens, this system do this. So the trigger and the handoff. So do it by hand 10 times, write down the steps. If you can't write them down, it's not ready to be a system. And automating your process nobody has described just makes confusion faster. So I always tell, like, my key principle is, if you can't write that automation in a napkin, if I ask you to right now with a pen and just like a random piece of paper, that automation is too complex. It has more loopholes. We want it to be as simple as possible, but reliable. I don't believe in grand complex automations. I believe And every business believes in a simple, reliable system that doesn't break. So if you can't write them down, it's not ready to be a system. There's too many loopholes going on. So that is how I build automations and the core, very fundamentals and principles of it. Um, how's everyone doing?
So far, we've
Um,
had one question from Peter Sila, which was about the value of how do you determine the value. And what I was explaining to him is it's typically a combination of the value the business gets from the service you're offering, combined with what an adjustment for your time and value
yes.
that you place on yourself, because you have kind of a standard rate of market bear, right? So you can charge between, let's say, 750 and maybe 2 or 3 thousand for a website. But if you're newer and you don't have maybe as much of a reputation, or you don't have as many referrals, or as much confidence in the service you offer, you charge a little bit lower in exchange for the gaining of the experience. And then as
Testimonials,
you yeah, as you
very
have the
important.
testimonials and the confidence, that's when you can start charging more. But the difference in what the business receives in value doesn't change. That's the range, and then you adjust that based on your valuation and experience. Um, we have a couple more questions from one is from Peter, which another one from Peter, which is, since AI is much more rampant, will that mean less value for the customer? What do you think, Cersei? Do you think it's less value for the customer, or do you think that it just means that we are able to charge, or we are able to close more?
We are definitely able to close more. How I see this is AI is like it's literally the hook. It's very hot, especially when the AI is dependent on the system. The system doesn't depend on AI, because if it depends, AI is very unreliable when if it doesn't have its own system. So that means the business is also most likely going to break. But from my experience, it definitely have gave me more value to the service that I'm offering, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Another question from Kim Herring, which is, so do we need to have a CRM like High Level to sell our finished lead gens? Yes and no.
Yeah.
I would say that you need a way to track it, whether that's using the Stripe customer base, or using an Excel spreadsheet and Stripe billing, or being able to have something like High Level where you can invoice people and things like that. It really kind
Yeah.
of depends on what you're looking to, what you're able to afford. But I definitely would recommend getting an actual CRM like High Level or Close or something like that when you do get to the point where you can afford it. And then in terms of hosting, you can host directly on Lovable. You can just leave it in Lovable. Now, I recommend ultimately moving to Vercel if you have more complex lead magnets, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with just leaving it in Lovable while you're getting started.
Yeah.
Chabuzer asked, how do we connect with more business owners to start the conversations with them? I think that's a really important question. Cersei, do you want to kind of tackle how you get, or if that's coming in the presentation, we can go ahead and keep moving.
Maybe let's save that for the end of presentation so that we can
Yep.
talk about how we can talk to these business owners and kind of like my best way to close them. Um, so yeah, basically this is the foundations of the automation. The key principle of automation is, when you think of automation, always think, when this happened, what does it do? So what deserves automating? So this is where the money is at when it comes to business and automations. So this how often does this work throughout the business? Like, we want to get the most repeatable step. So every day beats once a quarter. So every single day, let's say someone always inquires, someone always sends out their information. So that is what we want to do, and it's the same data that we're getting, like their name, information, all these things. So that's another one. Or Um, Next is sending invoices, right? Because businesses has their price, whether it be like custom or there's like an approximate of that. They always have a price for their business, and that is what's like always going, what's always happening every single day for a business. So next is how much does it hurt? If it costs money or someone makes or makes somebody miserable. So again, the very common is lead intake, lead gen, not lead gen, lead magnets. Yeah. So same every time. If it changes each time, it's not ready. So it must be all of these three things for it to be able to be automated. If it's not often, don't automate it. If it doesn't hurt as much, don't automate it. And if it's not the same every time, don't automate it. So these three things are your checklist. So two kinds of work. So it must be identical every single time, or it can vary a bit and nobody minds. So the identical part is the price you quote. It's always consistent. The total on the invoice. We don't want to be saying we're gonna charge you $53 and then charge 530. That's insane. And you will have a bad reputation for that business. And then who the message goes to, whether it be the customer or some internal team, like me handing off to the one who does the service. Like as a receptionist, I talk to the customer and the internal team. So who does the message goes to? So that is very identical. That's very template based and template heavy, and then can vary and nobody minds. So this is both of what I do. The wording of a reply. So I do like voice AI and receptionist and kind of like customer service, kind of client facing AI. So the wording of a reply, we don't mind it's saying hi and hello and how are you. You know, it's not like hi every single time. We want to have this kind of personality and humanness of the AI. And next is a summary of a call. You know, if you're using Fathom, you can see that the key points always change depending on the input. And the first draft of anything, always have a human QA when it comes to any important drafts. So get this backwards and you build something that quietly gets things wrong. So AI draft, our rule decides, and the human sense. That's how I do it, unless it's template based. And now, local leads. And this is the specific, boring, well paid job you can learn to do with it. So we have plumber, salon, and clinic, local businesses, service businesses, and what they're good at. They're what they're trying to do, fixing the boiler, cutting hairs, and treating patient. That is their technical skills, right? So what nobody trained them for is answering the phone with their hands full, chasing codes, and remembering who said maybe. This I learned this kind of principle from the book E Myth. I love that book. I think it's one of the business um, core foundation core business foundation. It's in that book. So this is basically most how think about it. Most business owners start off with a skill that they want to scale, and what they're really good at is what they do. And operations, a lot of people don't know what that even means, and that's when the holes um, leak all their money and revenue in their business, and they get burned out as a business owner, which is what we're trying to sell them, to have to no longer be burnt out and no longer and just focus on your craft, because the system does the rest for you. So four leaks. One is a missed call, especially after hours. You usually businesses have a receptionist that is only available for like, let's say, like 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And then what about someone inquired at 5:30 and they wanna book for like a salon or a plumbing job for tomorrow or next weekend, you know, but they don't have a after hours call, but let's say they call the competitor. So that competitor gets the booking, gets the money. And what we want to have is to save businesses that kind of scenario so that they can make more money. So the slow reply, very common for med spas. For like med spas, very common that the message came in at night, answered literally on Tuesday, and then they've already booked with someone else. This thing, for example, slow replies, how I see it, some businesses don't even have a lead gen or lead intake form. So lead intake form could be good, especially after hours. They don't have to message you, they can see the link, or there's going to be an automated response saying, hey, this is the intake form, so that they don't have to book with someone else. Or just having AI to respond to their inquiries at night. And then the one follow up, they said, "Let me think about it," and nobody ever chased. What I did with what I would usually do, if it's within the day, let's say the AI, like somebody messaged us on, let's say, Facebook or Instagram and say, "Hey, let me think about it," or "I'm driving. I'll let you know when I get home." Usually they forget to follow up. So the system follows up like, hey, are you still interested? Hey, like that's kind of like a smart system. And or even reminders, like reminder that this today is your appointment, today next week is your appointment, are you still going? So just like having, just like reminding, following up what is the business is about and what they're interested in the first place, so that we can close them. And then the forgotten list, a lot of businesses don't have this. So 100 of past customer that nobody has contacted ever since. Things you can do here is lead reactivation, where you can send out emails and kind of discount points, or just like these, especially if they already paid and they already had experience, which is really good thing that a lot of people forget to do, is ask for testimonials or a review. And just sending those out will help the business significantly, because we know how to better serve the business, or the customers. And we can also get testimonials for that, that builds the business's credibility. So those are the four leaks, and that is a very overview of how that works. Any questions so far?
We got a good one from Peter, which is a lot of businesses, they will tell of their own problems trying to look for a solution at the very beginning of networking with potential prospects. I think he's asking how, at what point do you find out from the business owner what their challenges are? You can go ahead and take that one, Cersei.
So for me, because I know the foundations of how businesses work, that's a key thing. And for example, they tell me like, I don't know why my, like, I get inbounds all the time, but I'm not making any money. So there's probably this, hold on, let me go back to that page. There's probably 100% leak in the capture, because what do you
Yep.
mean you're getting inquiries and you're not converting them? So this is how you attract people, marketing, and people know about your business, and this is how you make money. So if they're getting a lot of attention but they're not getting paid, there's definitely a leak here. There's no way to capture the information and a way to close them. So this is the money leak. This is where it usually jams, and this is the most common with every single thing. And then also, like, okay, oh, I already got them to sign, but they don't seem to come back to me again. There's a problem in retainment. But if you look farther, like if you look kind of zoomed out a bit, it's not the retaining problem, it's the delivery problem. So Do they get the review? Do they have any after service kind of what do you call this? Like I had after service review testimonials or after service care, like all of these things. So it's usually like I always zoom out. I don't focus on the problem itself. I zoom out and look at, okay, but before that problem, what usually happens
Yep.
before that? And that's how you get these solutions. Understanding this foundation is very key. And it took me months to understand this. And I'm giving it to you guys in this 30-minute session in a very overview way. But yeah, very important to understand that this is how businesses work. If they have a money leak here, zoom out and capture the leads and then convert them. So
Now,
yeah,
one quick thing that I want to tack onto that is, when you're talking to prospective business owners and networking, it's not really you're not doing it for the purpose of selling. And this is a
yes,
common misconception that everything you do in business is for the purpose of making a sale, right? A lot of times that, like on LinkedIn, for example, right? I get tons of DMs from people that are, cold pitches, and I get them on Facebook and them all over the time. Nobody wants to be cold pitched. It's very, very rare that you will find a customer that wants to be cold pitched. What they do want to do is be heard, and they want someone to listen to them. It's building a relationship. It's establishing credibility with that business owner. It's just like dating or really
yes,
anything in life. You don't want to walk up and to a person in a bar and say, "Hey, come home with me." Right? That's not a tactic that works for most people, at least. What does work is actually having a good conversation and listening to the business owner and saying, hey, tell me about your business, right? Like, how are you handling these different things? Here's what I'm struggling with. Would love to, hear from you and, what your thoughts are, and having a casual conversation with them. And then as they, start presenting their challenges and presenting their problems, you don't even, at that point, you don't even really, the go for the close right then, in my opinion. What you actually do is you tell them, this is how I solved my problem, or this is how I solved another business owner's problem, and you let them ask you, what would you be willing to solve that for me? And then you say, yeah, obviously, here's my price and here's what I do. But again, you're not networking for the purpose of closing a deal. You're networking for the purpose of establishing relationships and building that rapport with customers, or
yeah.
prospective customers. All right, Cersei, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, also I want to add into that, right? Even if like this person that you're talking to is not the your prospect or like your potential client, if they understand that you're really good at what you do and you have an offer and you have a service, and they will refer you to other people. Like really establishing that friendship. For me, like all my clients, I'm like close with them in a way that it's professional, but I understand why they started their business. I understand like what's their purpose of that business and how it works on a day-to-day basis. Like it's never transactional. It's always seeing business owners as humans as well. So just having that, establishing that relationship is very important, because how I started is I started with one client, and then they referred me and they referred me, and then it's just that kind of thing, because I established the relationship first rather than the close. And the first client that I had, by the way, reached back to me after I told him what I do months after. So it's not closing immediately, but um, truly valuing the network rather than seeing the transaction. But yeah, those are the four money leaks, and this is what makes them listen. This is my math. Um, when it comes to actually closing, and they say like they are interested, this you can do this. When it comes to like kind of like looking at their leaks. So, for example, 6 inquiries a week never gets a reply, and their average service, for example, med spas, is their average value job is 400 pounds or dollars, and their realistic share of that would book. So let's say half of these inquiries would book because they already have interested, they are already interested in that. So it's $3,400 a month walking out. So you don't sell you sell them this like, hey, what about let's recover your 3,400 a month walking out by me implementing the system, because you're already having 6 inquiries a week and your value is this amount, and then realistically it's like 50% of that would book. So do this math and show them how much they're actually losing, and quote them like, maybe I'm like, I guess that's somewhere around 3 to 4 thousand a month. Does that sound right? So that's usually how I talk, just like letting them actually know how much like monetary value that we're gonna provide is key. Like again, providing value is the key here. We're not like, for me, how I sell it, it's not how I'm saying, oh yeah, look at this complex automation. I'm gonna do technical stuff here, technical stuff there. They're business owners. They want to know how much it's gonna make their business and how much they're gonna save, whether it be time, resources, hours, all the things. But this is my math. How like very just like very basic. But yeah, this is, if you guys want to have like a closing tip, do this. And yeah, always ask always a question, never a claim. So I guess somewhere around 3 to 4 thousand a month. Have them verify it themselves. Have them think about it. Like a question cannot be wrong. If you're off, they correct you, and now you know better numbers from them. So we might think that they're losing this amount, but in actuality they're losing more. And then when they realize, they're like, holy shit, I'm losing this amount, they're more likely to say yes. And the 5 fixes that you can deliver for any automations is answer fast, an instant reply, the follow-up property, 3 messages instead of 1 on a schedule. So like, the most common is following up the day later, 3 days later, and a week later for any inquiries or any like appointment scheduling, right? So catch the missed call. A text goes at the moment a call is missed, saying like, hey, we'll call back to you. So the person that are calling and inquiring the business feels seen, feels valued. And ask for reviews. Again, ask for reviews, and then wake the old list up. Lead activation, reactivation. So not all 5. Pick the one that matches the lead that you found. You don't like, by the way, you don't have to fix the entire system. You can target one system at a time. So it doesn't like, one thing that I think it's because like one of like perfectionism feeling is that I have to fix the entire business. But like if you fix just one leak of a business, that changes drastically of their trajectory. So never speak for them unsupervised. And yeah, quoting a price, promising a date, or answering anything medical, legal is not. So it's a draft in a human sense. So just pick the matches that you think is a high leverage one and that you can fulfill. And do it properly, get it working, then talk about the next one. So what you charge. For the first one, it could be free or a couple hundreds for testimonials. You are buying the proof. And then a real job is a few hundred to 1,000 fixed price, one fixed done properly. And keeping it alive is sending a monthly to watch and improve it. So this is how I have gotten into this kind of field. First, I really just ask a lot of people like, hey, what if I do this for free? And then I'm like, okay, what if I charge this? Is like the thing with operations is that there's always something to fix in a business operations, and there's a lot of business departments, right? For me, what usually happens is that I fix one part of their business, and they come up to me like, hey, I have this problem in this part of my business. Can you fix it? And that's where I fight off scope creep, because knowing that it happened before, that businesses usually have more problems and operations leak, I just specifically have things that I will we call this, that I will fulfill. Like that is the only thing that I will be working on, because I know after this there's going to be um another inquiry from the same lead that I have. So that's how I avoid um project creep right now, scope creep right now. And it took me again months to learn that and just like accept it and like be confident with charging. So
Can you really quickly explain what scope creep is?
so scope creep is when a business owner tells you this is what I'm lacking, and while you're in the project, they also add another one that's kind of similar and connected to the project what you have, but that's out of scope from the initial deal that you guys have. So always focusing on, like, what I do is like I look at kind of like the contract. Like, it's very tempting to say yes because you can do it. Just because you can do it, that doesn't mean you should do it. You should always value yourself, your work. And then if you want to tackle that project, you can say, hey, let's save that for phase two of the project, or a separate contract, or a phase two of this deal, so that we can just focus on this. So it's avoiding scope creep is basically just saying yes to things that are out of the initial deal. And it's very, very common than most people thought. And that's something that I wish I knew sooner, because I really didn't have a guidance. So I was very like taking like three projects and getting paid for one. Essentially, that's scope creep, and I had a very, very long history with it. So yeah. So yeah, this is like you already know them, the place you get your haircut, and then yeah, this is exactly what Mario said. Ask and don't pitch. Just listen to them, just see their problems and try not to close. Just try to be observant, just try to be curious. And the purpose of it is building relationship rather than pitching. So, so name a local business that you know. So a plumber, salon, garage, clinic, just any type, plumbing, HVAC, even barbershops. A lot of people are selling to barbershops as well. So these are local businesses that you know. And even like even if you go out and look at your street, just like walk around, like, oh shit, that's a salon. Let me go into the business, or let me just Google their business, right? So everyone has a business somewhere. So name the local business that you know, and you can look at the business and see it. So every business has is 5 box, and most jammed are at the same one. Work is trigger, ask, decision, and handoff. That's how automation works. And automate the frequency, the pain, and sameness. Never before it's written down. And then local business leaks lead in 4 places, and all four fixable for free. So those are automations and operations 101. Any questions so far?
Yeah, so we got a good one from Umair, which is, or Umair. Why would a business owner talk to you if they don't know who you are or what you do? Um,
This is really good.
yeah, what would a business owner want to talk to you for? Can you kind of explain that part?
So, how I usually do it is just I really just be upfront, like, hey, this is what I do, and this is. I think the best example for here is cold calling, right? um, Cold calling or outreach or whatever that is. They don't know you. They don't like. They have no idea who you are. So it's targeting specifically. For example, hey, I saw your website. I can do this, and basically, do you want to get to know me, and I'll get to know you, or like I will get to know your business. So it's really having a very good introduction of who you are, what
Yeah.
you do, and that's basically solves it.
Yeah, I think that the most important part is, like you said earlier, Cersei, is that you're having a conversation, you're not pitching. And I think this is again, somewhere that people get so lost on is, when you and it especially is really prevalent when you need money or you are feeling kind of that crunch of like starting a business and you're not getting any leads or anything like that, people go right for the close, and that's not the good way to do it. What you have to do, and the reason they're going to talk to you, is because you're listening and you're asking questions and you're understanding, what they're doing. So even in a cold calling scenario, say, hey, I saw your website, would love to learn a little bit about your business. Like Cersei said, have a good introduction about what you do. So explain, I build websites, and I'm trying to understand, what businesses like yours need, so that I can better deliver services and kind of upskill and up level what I'm offering. So you're not being disingenuous. You're actually genuinely asking questions and doing research, to understand more about what businesses like that need, and then from there, that's when you start. They start asking, "Hey, what do you do? How, can you work with my business? Is this something that, is potentially an opportunity for us, to work together or something like that?" So it always starts with that general conversation, that listening. And that's one of the reasons why I recommend BNI. And BNI, by the way, is it's International Business Networking International. There is BNI chapters in pretty much every country in the world, and all over the place, especially in the US and other countries like that. You have, I know like India has one of the largest chapters, it has like 3,000 members or something like that. And they meet once a week. It's insane. If you look at they live stream their meetings. It's absolutely insane. They have a totally different format than most of them, but usually what it is, it's like a uh, more small format group session where you get to introduce yourself every single week and things like that. And that's really a good starting point for building that confidence and building that listening skill. So Chibuzer said, I had a student call over 40 businesses saying he was a student. He is doing a study. No one was interested in hearing him out. That's because he wasn't being honest.
Yeah.
He wasn't introducing himself as a business owner, or as a peer. He was introducing himself as a student, and genuinely not being genuine in the purpose behind him calling. So what you have to do, and again, it's a numbers game. So if we called 40 businesses and it didn't work, call 400 businesses and then report back to me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind
Uh,
of like great, like just like, yeah, it's a number games. It's if 40 doesn't work, try 100, try
yeah,
40. It's gonna be inevitable that you're gonna close the deal. Even like let's say 1,000. It's always a numbers game. You're always against not luck, but the like possibility of it happening. So always use that. Look for that like 20%, 10%, and just that's how you're gonna get it. You're not always gonna get it in every single call. Don't set expect like first of all, something that I had to deal with is I always expect that people are gonna answer me, and like I had this fear kind of rejection. You gotta face that, and you gotta handle rejection well, because first of all they don't know you, you don't know them, and this is a transaction, right? So always don't feel discouraged if you get a say, if you get like 100 no's, because you only need one yes. That's,
exactly.
you always got to think about that. But yeah, now the best like this part is like, how do we actually sell them? Like, how does that actually work, right? So um, I'll be showing you guys this. So basically, kind of like, let's say we're gonna sell a website to someone, so a business, right? I'll look into this. Sorry, share screen. So I have this. What I actually just did is I use like an AI asking like, hey, can you give me a website? Can you give me a salon that doesn't have a website? Doesn't have a website, but you see here, they have the number. So you can call this up saying like, hey, is this Total Look beauty salons? And they're in 53 years. If they say yes, you ask like, hey, is this the manager or is this the owner that I can talk to? Because I noticed that you guys don't have a website. What I actually did is I created a website for you guys. Are you guys interested into looking into that? Just let me know your thoughts, because I really want to just know more about, like, like, I want to expand my experience and my capacity. If you guys are interested in that, let's hop on a call. Usually that's how cold calling works. It's not about selling it, getting the money ASAP. It's just getting them interested into what you do and what you offer and how you're going to do it. So it's always leading them to, like, hey, I provided value for you because I researched about your business, and here is what the preview looks like. If you're interested, let's hop on a call. If not, next to the up to the next. So you can easily search up businesses like this anywhere and then just call them. Now, what you can do, like, this is like the 30-minute money, right? Now that you talk to them and they're interested, or they want to show you, or they want the website, the preview of it, you go to Lovable. Let me open up Lovable. And I have another resource for you guys that I'll be adding after this as well, is this prompt. So I want you to design and build a website. So the business name, the business name is Total Look. So the audience will visit their site and what they feel or do. So the audience are, let's say, people who wants to get a haircut or a hair color. And it's book a call. That's the one action a visitor must take. And then the reference is, they don't have a site reference, so not applicable. And what I like about it, be specific. So there's no reference here, but we can look at any website of any salon. I have it right here. This is just like a hair salon that I just pull up in my local area, and I say, I like this editorial view. I like how it's like a magazine showing off hair and it being editorial. And then it also shows an about us. Oh yeah, dark editorial column. It shows about us and the founding story of the business. So what do we not want? Most common is we don't want, let's say, I don't want any emojis. And then let's play screen. There you go. So let's say I want it to look like a magazine showing off hair, and it shows about us and a founding story of the business and a dark editorial, and it's very calm. So I don't want any emojis. And then you can do reference, site references. So let's say I wanna do Moga. And then let's look for more websites. I'm in Thailand, guys, so it's Thai. Or you can get like Site Builder Reporter. There's a lot of like websites there that you can just reference the link. Color made with Bell and Salon. Oh, Bella Spa. So let's say, just look at that. These are the things that I like about the reference sites, because like they don't have any, right? They don't have any sites. We don't have anything to look with. But searching is so easy, and we can just do that and just copy whatever businesses already has, put that into the reference. And then what I like about it, if you have any specific element, I don't really have any. And then yeah, I want it to look calm, premium, and editorial. So one accent color. So I want it to be a dark base, dark and light base with one accent color. And let's say the typography or the font, I want a serif headline or any fonts actually. And then I don't want stock photo energy and emojis or gradient on the text. So we don't want any colored cards, more than one competing button per screen. So what a competing button is kind of like the call to action, saying, let's say there's like multiple things, like there's book a call now, there's schedule a calendar. If you see a website, there's too much decisions for you instead of it being intuitive. So we want the website to feel intuitive for customers. So structure of the hero, how it works, proof and results, pricing, FAQs, and contact. This is just a very standard order of websites. And then animation, subtle reveals. I want a subtle reveal of animation. If animated, respect reduced notion, only transform. I want a motion, respect and reduced motion. That means the graphics are just like going on, just like a few transitions. Boop, boop. Nothing lags an average laptop, very important. And motion feels calm. So when it comes to this, you don't even need to have like the technicalities of a website, right? You need to do, like, I call this intent prompting. What does it feel? What is the intention behind it, rather than the technicalities of it, because AI is already so smart to figure that out. And very important, mobile view must work as well as the desktop, fast, heavy, and iteration. How I'll give feedback. So this is more of a notes for you guys. And then you just have that build out. Call the business, tell them, hey, I have a website for you. Give them even just a demo of this. And then they already think like, oh, this person has done its research and put in the effort. And what does that effort took you? A few minutes of prompting. That's how you make weekend money.
So we were just chatting about how impressive you are, Cersei, because you're not even old enough to drink in the U.S. and you are absolutely crushing it. So that was Kelly's feedback. She said, "I am so impressed with you. Not even sure you're old enough to drink in the alcohol in the U.S. and yet you're rocking out business. Get it, girl." That is absolutely true. Cersei is only 20. And I met her when she was 19, and she is absolutely crushing it. So I had no idea. I thought she was much older than she was. Not because she looks old, but just because she is far too knowledgeable and mature for most people her age. Yes, to everyone who's asking whether or not we're going to share the prompt, we are absolutely going to share the prompt in the free community general chat.
Yeah, also the deck, the foundation of that, and the prompt I'm going to send to you guys, so that you can do your weekend test here. Again, don't be discouraged by 30, 40 calls. Don't be discouraged by that. We only need one to change and transform you. That's how I see opportunities. It's a numbers game for sure.
Yeah, so got a couple of questions. One from Brian, which is, for folks abroad, how would we be able to do cold calls for potential clients in the US? There's a two-part challenge with that question, or two-part answer with that question, Brian. the first part is if you want to cold call potential clients in the US, you can use platforms like Grasshopper or High Level or anything that has a web calling VoIP interface.
I think
That
Google Voice also offers
Yeah,
that.
Google Voice as well. Yeah, and there are some free ones that do it like Google Voice, where you're able to place those calls to people in the U.S. using a local number. But the more important part is I think that you're actually forgetting, Brian. Where do you live, Brian? Really quick, if you wouldn't mind sharing that in the chat. Just wait a second for that to show up. Philippines. Okay. There is so much opportunity in the Philippines too, Brian, that you guys are missing out on because everybody in the Philippines needs the same thing. Now the rates are a little bit different, absolutely, but it's a great way to get started. Cersei, would you mind sharing a little bit about doing business in the Philippines?
Yeah. So you know what's really good about this? Let's say where specifically in the Philippines you are, but if you just come up to like let's say an established um or any like services, right? Like even if you close as not much rate as the US, you can just go into a business and be like, hey, I created this for you. I will manage this for you. I set up the operations and systems for you, and this is you know the price and how it works. Now, the reason why I say like one opportunity is going to change you. Let's say you do ended up getting that deal and you get paid, and then you get the experience, the testimonials. What you already have a leverage after that. After that leverage, what are you going to do? You're going to buy a phone number in the US. You're going to buy providers in the US. And then you're going to call them after. So it's kind of like, what step are you going to take first? You can take the local step where you really, instead of experimenting already with the US clients and having, you know, most likely low closing rate because you don't have any proof.
Whoops, it killed the session.
Oops.
Did you kill the session or did I?
I think you did.
No, I
looking at
didn't.
the comment.
No, I didn't. It's definitely still streaming.
Really? This says
Yeah.
session has ended. A recording will be available soon. What? I was
Yeah.
looking at the comments.
Yeah, same.
Oopsies.
Yeah, I didn't end that at all. I'll have to talk to High Level about that. Hold on, I'm gonna reboot it.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. We'll let people join in. All right, we'll just give people a couple minutes to fill back up the hopper.
Let me know if Brian, you're here so I can continue with that, or anyone in the Philippines or outside the US. Let me know if you guys are here so I can just like pick back up.
Yeah, go ahead and pick back up, and then I'm sure that they will. I wonder if there's a time limit on the streams we hit. No, because it would be random because we're only at an hour.
Yeah, it was
14
1 hour
minutes.
13. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, just randomly ended, guys. Sorry about that. It must be a high level feature. I did not click anything or touch anything. Neither did Cersei. So
You guys follow my hands.
yeah, we're hands off, not us. But thank you, those of you that joined back in. Let's go ahead and wrap up with an end to Brian's question, Cersei, and then we can let everyone carry on with their day.
Yeah, so basically that like you really need just like a leverage, right? If you don't have the leverage of phone number, US or anything like that, you can target what you can target right now and aim higher after you get the leverage. So that's kind of like the wrap up that I want to say. It's okay to start small. It's okay to target your local stuff. And after that, you can even target US, Japan, anywhere. It's online money and everyone needs a website or anyone needs operations. Everything is almost online. So yeah, it's a wrap up.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining. We really appreciate all of you taking the time today. We are at about an hour and 16 minutes, which is just perfect. Thank you so much for joining us at Legendary Academy. Again, my name is Mario Aldius, and I'm here with Cersei Florano. and we will be here every week on Wednesday. So join our free session. Go on Facebook, share our link, make sure people have it, and we look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah, go
hold
ahead.
on. Before we end, I forgot to share like the prompt,
Yeah, go
the
ahead
salon
and
prompt.
just share it in the general chat, the general community
Yeah.
afterwards. And
And
then
this is the preview of it, by the way, guys.
let
So
me add the
you
scene.
can
There we go.
you can
Oh wow,
easily
that's beautiful.
share this. Like, by the way, it took me what, a few minutes of prompting. Like, just imagine how fast it is. Call a business owner, tell them that you built a website while you're calling them or while it's dialing. Put this prompt up. If they ask for a link, share this link, and you're gonna close.
That's amazing.
You provided value. 30 minutes. There you go, money.
Awesome.
But yeah,
Well, thank you so
I'll be
much.
sharing the prompt and the deck. And yeah,